eyes darting between Ellie Matthews, their normally composed CEO, and James Harrington, the quiet single father who just revealed why he couldn't accept her dinner invitation. The raw vulnerability in his voice had silenced the room. If you've ever wondered about the invisible battles people fight behind their smiles, this story might just change how you see the world around you. Stay with me until the end. I promise it's worth every minute. And if this resonates with you, please consider supporting the channel with a like and subscribe for more stories that illuminate the human experience. James hadn't planned on working late that Friday. His daughter's science project was due Monday, and he'd promised to help her finish it this weekend. But when the Henderson account needed emergency revisions, he couldn't say no, not when he was still proving himself after only 8 months at Pinnacle Marketing. The office had emptied hours ago. James rubbed his tired eyes, saving the presentation one final time before shutting down his computer. The soft glow of a light from the corner office caught his attention. Ellie Matthews was still there, hunched over her desk, her dark hair falling across her face as she reviewed documents. James had always admired her from afar, not just for her beauty, though at 38, she carried herself with an effortless grace that turned heads, but for her brilliance and compassion. She'd built Pinnacle from nothing after leaving a toxic corporate environment, creating a workplace where people actually wanted to be. She remembered birthdays, asked about families, and fought for her employees, advancement like a mother bear protecting her cubs. Burning the midnight oil, too. Her voice startled him. James nodded, gathering his things. Just finished the Henderson revisions. You're a lifesaver. Ellie leaned against his doorframe. I've noticed you staying late a lot. Dedication like yours is rare. Just doing my job, he said, uncomfortable with praise. Well, your job doesn't include sacrificing your Friday nights. She smiled. Which is why I think you deserve a proper dinner. Tomorrow night. That new Italian place downtown. The invitation hung in the air between them. James felt his heart quicken, then immediately sink. He'd rehearsed this scenario in his mind countless times, but the reality felt different, heavier. I can't, he stammered. But thank you. Ellie's smile faltered slightly. Another time, then. No, James took a deep breath. I can't date. Not now. Maybe not for years. Oh, her expression shifted to professional neutrality. I apologize if I misread. You didn't. James interrupted, surprising himself with his boldness. In another life, I'd say yes in a heartbeat. Something in his voice must have revealed more than he intended, because Ellie stepped into his office and closed the door. James, what's going on? And don't tell me it's nothing. I've seen how you look at me when you think I don't notice. The weight of years of silence pressed against his chest. Maybe it was exhaustion, or maybe it was the genuine concern in her eyes, but James found himself speaking words he'd kept locked away since his wife's death. It's Lily, he said quietly. My daughter, is she okay? Alarm flashed across Ellie's face. Physically, yes. But emotionally, James sank back into his chair. After her mother died, Lily developed severe attachment anxiety. She's terrified of losing me too. The last time I went on a date, almost 2 years ago, she had such a severe panic attack that we ended up in the emergency room. Ellie's expression softened. I had no idea. She's in therapy, and we're making progress, but it's slow. The psychologist says introducing a romantic partner now could set her back significantly. James ran a hand through his hair. She's only 9. Her well-being has to come first. Of course it does, Ellie said softly. The thing is, James continued, unable to stop now that he'd started. I've spent 3 years telling myself that being a good father means sacrificing everything else. That Lily needs stability more than I need companionship. That I can wait until she's older, more secure. But, Ellie prompted gently, But sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. His voice cracked. I love my daughter more than anything, but I'm lonely. And the worst part is feeling guilty for being lonely, like I'm somehow betraying her by wanting something for myself. The coffee mug Ellie had been holding slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. Neither of them moved to clean it up. James, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. That's the most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard. The story of James and Ellie didn't end in that office. It was just beginning, a complicated, messy, beautiful beginning that would challenge both of them in ways they never expected. Ellie Matthews hadn't built a successful company by backing down from challenges. The following Monday, she called James into her office, not as a potential romantic interest, but as someone who recognized a fellow human being in pain. I've been thinking about our conversation, she said, her tone professional but warm, and I have a proposition for you. James tensed, preparing for the worst. Office relationships were complicated enough without adding his personal baggage. Pinnacle is launching a new wellness initiative. Ellie continued. We're expanding benefits to include family therapy, support groups, and flexible scheduling for parents. I'd like you to head the committee. James was confused. I'm not in HR. No, but you understand the challenges working parents face better than anyone. This isn't charity, James. It's recognition of your insight and experience. Over the next few months, James threw himself into the wellness initiative. The project gave him purpose beyond client presentations and marketing strategies. He organized parenting workshops, negotiated with insurance providers for better mental health coverage, and created a resource library for employees facing family challenges. What he didn't realize was how the project was healing him too. For the first time since becoming a single parent, James wasn't alone in his struggles. He connected with other single parents at Pinnacle, sharing strategies and support. The guilt that had been his constant companion began to loosen its grip. Ellie watched from a distance, their professional relationship deepening into friendship. She never pushed for more, respecting the boundaries James had set. Instead, she became a sounding board, offering advice about Lily's school issues or just listening when James needed to vent. 6 months into the wellness initiative, James invited Ellie to Lily's school play. Not as a date, he was careful to explain that, but as a friend who had supported their family indirectly through the company's new policies. Are you sure? Ellie asked, surprised by the invitation. Lily asked me to invite you, James admitted. She's curious about Dad's boss lady, who sends him home early on therapy days. The school auditorium was packed with parents clutching programs and smartphones. James led Ellie to seats he'd saved in the third row, close enough to see Lily's face when she delivered her 2 lines as Villager, High 3, in the school's production of Beauty and the Beast. She's been practicing those lines for weeks. James whispered as the lights dimmed. She's terrified of forgetting them. When Lily appeared on stage, her eyes immediately found her father in the audience. Seeing Ellie beside him, she faltered momentarily before delivering her lines perfectly. The pride on James's face was unmistakable. After the show, Lily approached them cautiously, still in her costume. You were amazing, James said, kneeling to hug her. Thanks, Dad. Lily's eyes shifted to Ellie. Did you like the play? I loved it, Ellie said sincerely, especially Villager Faye 3. She had excellent projection. Lily smiled shyly. That's what Ms. Rodriguez taught us. Project from your diaphragm. She demonstrated by taking a deep breath that pushed out her stomach. Very professional. Ellie nodded seriously. I use that technique in board meetings. Really? Lily's eyes widened. Absolutely. Public speaking is scary for everyone, even grown-ups. Dad gets nervous before big presentations too, Lily confided. He practices in the bathroom mirror. James felt his cheeks warm. Thanks for exposing my secrets, kiddo. It's not a secret. Lily rolled her eyes. I hear you talking to yourself every time. The easy conversation continued over ice cream at Lily's favorite shop. James watched in amazement as his daughter, who typically retreated into silence around new adults, peppered Ellie with questions about her job, her favorite books, and whether she had any pets. No pets yet, Ellie answered. My apartment doesn't allow them. That's sad, Lily declared. Everyone needs somebody to take care of. I have my plants, Ellie offered. Lily considered this seriously. Plants don't purr when you're sad, though. That's an excellent point. As they walked back to their cars, Lily skipped ahead, stopping to examine interesting rocks and leaves on the sidewalk. Thank you for coming, James said quietly. This is the most animated I've seen her with someone new in years. She's wonderful, Ellie replied. You've done an incredible job with her, James. I'm trying. He watched his daughter, her dark hair, so like her mother's, bouncing as she jumped over sidewalk cracks. Her therapist says she's making progress. Tonight is evidence of that. Does that mean? Ellie let the question hang unfinished. I don't know, James answered honestly, but for the first time, I'm hopeful. That hope was tested 3 weeks later when Lily found a text from Ellie on James's phone. It was innocent, just confirming details for a company picnic. But seeing a woman's name triggered Lily's anxiety. The meltdown that followed left both father and daughter emotionally exhausted. I thought we were past this, James said during their next therapy session, frustration evident in his voice. Dr. Winters, Lily's therapist, adjusted her glasses. Healing isn't linear, James. There will be setbacks, but she was doing so well. She met Ellie. They talked about books and ice cream flavors. You thought it meant you could start dating? Dr. Winters finished gently. Is that so wrong? James asked, his voice breaking. To want companionship? Of course not. But for Lily, any potential romantic partner represents a threat, someone who might take her father's attention, or worse, someone else she might lose. So what do I do? Wait until she's in college. Dr. Winters smiled sympathetically. I have a suggestion, but it will require patience. Lily needs to build a relationship with Ellie, or anyone you might date, that exists independently from you. She needs to see this person as someone in her life, not just yours. How do we do that? Slowly. Group activities first. No romantic overtones. Let Lily see this person in different contexts, professional, casual, maybe even in situations where Lily has expertise or confidence. The strategy made sense, but implementing it required delicate navigation. James couldn't explain to Ellie that they were essentially dating without dating. That would put unfair pressure on both her and Lily. Instead, he focused on creating natural opportunities for them to spend time together. The company picnic became the first test case. Pinnacle's annual summer gathering included families, with games and activities for children of all ages. James volunteered to coordinate, ensuring he and Lily would be involved in the planning. We need face painters, he told Ellie during a planning meeting. Lily's actually quite good. She's been practicing on me. Is that why you had a butterfly on your wrist during the Zimmerman presentation? Ellie laughed. I thought my sleeve covered it. James groaned. It was adorable. And yes, if Lily wants to help with face painting, that would be wonderful. The day of the picnic dawned bright and clear. James arrived early with Lily to help set up. She was quiet on the drive over, clutching her face painting kit. Nervous, he asked. She nodded. What if no one wants me to paint their face? Then they're missing out on having an awesome butterfly or tiger, or whatever masterpiece you'd create. Ellie was already at the park when they arrived, directing the setup of tables and tents. She waved when she saw them, but didn't approach immediately, giving Lily space. Where should I set up? Lily asked, her voice small. Let's ask Ellie. This is her company picnic, after all. They crossed the grass to where Ellie was checking items off a clipboard. She looked different outside the office, more relaxed in jeans and a Pinnacle t-shirt, her hair pulled back in a casual ponytail. The artist has arrived, James announced. Where would you like the face painting station? Ellie considered seriously. Somewhere shaded but visible. How about under that oak tree? We can set up a sign to direct people. Is that okay, Lily? James asked. His daughter nodded, some of her tension easing at being included in the decision. Perfect. Ellie smiled. I've been telling everyone about our talented face painter. You might have a line before we even officially start. She was right. As employees and their families arrived, children gravitated toward Lily's station. Her initial nervousness disappeared as she concentrated on transforming faces into butterflies, superheroes, and animals. James checked on her periodically, but she was too busy to need him. During a lull, Ellie appeared with bottles of water and snacks. Artists need to stay hydrated, she said, placing them on Lily's table. You're doing amazing work. I've never seen such detailed face painting at one of our picnics. Lily beamed at the praise. Do you want one? I could do a flower or something simple if you don't want your whole face done. I would love one, Ellie said, sitting in the child-sized chair across from Lily. What do you recommend? Lily studied Ellie's face with professional seriousness. You have good cheekbones for a butterfly wing. It would curve right here. She traced a gentle line from Ellie's temple to her cheek. I trust your artistic vision completely. James watched from a distance as his daughter carefully painted a delicate purple and blue butterfly wing that extended from Ellie's temple across her cheekbone. The concentration on Lily's face, the patient stillness of Ellie, the gentle conversation that flowed between them, it created a knot of emotion in his throat. They look good together, a voice said beside him. James turned to find Maria from accounting, another single parent he'd connected with through the wellness initiative. They do, he agreed. Lily's opening up more, Maria observed. When we first met, she wouldn't even make eye contact with me. Now she's painting the CEO's face. It's been a journey, James admitted. It always is. Maria squeezed his arm supportively. But you're doing it right, James. Taking it slow, putting Lily first. Some men wouldn't have that patience. The picnic marked a turning point. Over the following months, Ellie became a regular presence in their lives, not as James's girlfriend, but as herself. She invited Lily to help with a mural in the Pinnacle lobby, commissioned her to create birthday cards for employees, and occasionally joined them for movie nights or museum visits. James watched his daughter bloom under this new female attention. Ellie never tried to replace Lily's mother. She was careful to respect those memories, but she offered something different, a model of female strength, creativity, and kindness that complemented what James provided. By Christmas, nearly a year after that first conversation in James's office, Lily asked the question he'd been both hoping for and dreading. Dad, is Ellie your girlfriend? They were decorating their tree, hanging the ornaments Lily's mother had collected over the years alongside new ones they'd added since. James set down the glass star he was holding. What makes you ask that? Lily shrugged, focusing intently on placing a reindeer ornament. You look at her the way Prince Charming looks at Cinderella, and she laughs at your jokes even when they're not funny. My jokes are hilarious, James protested. Dad, Lily gave him a look far too mature for her 10 years. I'm serious. James sat on the couch, patting the space beside him. Lily joined him, leaning against his side. Ellie is very special to me, he said carefully. But I haven't asked her to be my girlfriend because I wanted to make sure you were comfortable first. Because of my panic attacks. Because your feelings matter to me more than anything. Lily was quiet for a long moment, fiddling with the hem of her sweater. I used to think if you got a girlfriend, you wouldn't need me anymore. James pulled her closer. That could never happen. You're my daughter. No one could ever replace you or change how much I need you. I know that now, Lily said softly. Dr. Winters helped me understand that love doesn't work like that. It's not pie. Pie? Yeah. She said love isn't like pie, where if you give some to one person, there's less for everyone else. It's more like... Lily scrunched her face, trying to remember. Like a candle that lights other candles without getting smaller. James felt tears prick his eyes. That's exactly right. So, Lily looked up at him. If you want Ellie to be your girlfriend, I think that would be okay. Are you sure? Because there's no rush. I'm sure. Lily's voice grew stronger. I like Ellie. She doesn't try to act like my mom. And she taught me how to make those cool friendship bracelets. And she always listens to my stories. Even when they're really long. James laughed. Those are excellent reasons. Plus, Lily added seriously, she makes you smile more. I like when you smile, Dad. That night, after Lily was asleep, James sat on his back porch with a cup of tea, staring at his phone. The conversation with his daughter had unlocked something inside him. Hope, possibility, permission to move forward. But fear still lingered. What if Ellie had moved on? What if she'd grown tired of waiting for him to be ready? Before he could talk himself out of it, he dialed her number. James. Ellie answered, surprise evident in her voice. They rarely spoke on the phone outside of work hours. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, he assured her. Better than fine, actually. I was wondering if you're free for dinner this Saturday. Just the two of us, doll. The pause that followed felt eternal. James Harrington, Ellie finally said, her voice warm with emotion. Hear you asking me on a date. A real date. I am. He took a deep breath. It's been a long road, and I can't promise it won't still be complicated sometimes, but if you're still interested... Yes, she interrupted. My answer is yes! Their first official date was nothing like either of them had imagined during those months of careful friendship. They chose a small restaurant far from both their homes and the office, wanting privacy for this new beginning. The conversation flowed easily. They already knew so much about each other, but there was a new undercurrent of possibility that electrified even the most mundane topics. I've wanted to do this for so long, Ellie admitted over dessert, but I was afraid of pushing too hard, of disrupting the balance you and Lily had found. You were incredibly patient, James said, reaching for her hand across the table. Most people wouldn't have waited. Most people wouldn't be worth waiting for. Her fingers intertwined with his. But you and Lily, you became important to me in ways I never expected. I wasn't just waiting for a relationship with you. I was valuing what we already had. After dinner, they walked along the riverfront, the city lights reflecting on the water. When James finally kissed her, it felt both brand new and like coming home. Building a relationship while parenting a child with anxiety wasn't easy. There were setbacks, nights when Lily couldn't sleep if she knew James was out with Ellie, days when old fears resurfaced. But there were also breakthroughs. The first time Lily asked if Ellie could stay for breakfast after a movie night, the Saturday afternoon when she fell asleep on the couch between them, completely at peace. 6 months into their relationship, Ellie was offered a position that would advance her career significantly in another city. The night she told James, they sat in her car outside his house, both afraid to speak the implications aloud. It's an incredible opportunity, James said finally. You have to take it. Do I? Ellie turned to face him. Because from where I'm sitting, I have something pretty incredible right here. I can't ask you to give up your career advancement for us. You're not asking. I'm choosing. Ellie took his hand. James, I've spent my entire adult life climbing corporate ladders. I'm good at it, and yes, this job would be another impressive rung. But this past year has taught me something important. Say, success means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. What are you saying? I'm saying I love you, and I love Lily. And if that means turning down this job to stay here, then it's not even a difficult choice. James was stunned. You love Lily? Of course I do. She's brilliant and creative, and has the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. Just like her father, the words James had been holding back for months finally broke free. I love you too. We both do. 2 years after that first conversation in James's office, the one that had begun with a shattered coffee mug and broken hearts, Ellie moved into their home. The transition wasn't without challenges. Lily struggled with sharing her father's attention and adjusting to new routines. But they faced each hurdle together, with patience and understanding, on a warm spring evening, as they planted a garden in what was now their shared backyard. James watched Ellie teaching Lily how to properly space tomato seedlings. His daughter's laughter floated through the air as Ellie told a story about her own childhood garden disasters. In that moment, James realized something profound, the sacrifice he'd thought he was making. Putting his own happiness on hold for his daughter's well-being hadn't been a sacrifice at all. It had been an investment. By giving Lily the time she needed, by respecting her healing process, he hadn't just preserved their relationship, he'd created space for it to grow into something even more beautiful. That night, after Lily was asleep, James and Ellie sat on the porch swing, her head resting on his shoulder, as they watched fireflies dance across the lawn. "Do you ever think about that night in your office?" James asked. "When I told you I couldn't date?" "Sometimes," Ellie admitted. "It broke my heart, but it also made me admire you more than I can express. Not many people would put their child's needs so completely before their own." "I thought I was giving something up," James said softly. "But looking back, I wasn't losing anything. I was making room for this, for us, the way we are now. If we'd rushed into dating then, before Lily was ready, we might not have made it." "Life has its own timeline," Ellie agreed. "Sometimes the longest roads lead to the most beautiful destinations." As they sat together in comfortable silence, James reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The pain of loss, the weight of single parenthood, the loneliness he'd carried for so long, all of it had shaped him, prepared him for this new chapter. And while he couldn't know what challenges tomorrow might bring, he faced the future with something he'd once thought lost forever: hope. The story of James, Lily, and Ellie wasn't a fairy tale. It was messy and complicated and real. There were still difficult days, moments when the past cast long shadows, but there was also joy, profound, hard, one joy that meant more, because of the journey it took to find it. In the end, James's answer to his boss's simple question, "Why won't you date?" hadn't just broken her heart, it had opened it to possibilities neither of them could have imagined. And in that opening, they had both found something rare and precious, a love worth waiting for. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind us all of our shared humanity, the struggles we face, and the love that helps us overcome them. Remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Sometimes the strongest people are not those who show their strength before the world, but those who fight and win battles we know nothing about. Until next time, be kind to one another. The world needs it more than ever.